Welcome students to lecture 5 of laws of motion. So in this lecture we are going to deal with some common forces which we encounter in mechanics. That means we are going to study the types of forces which we can encounter in mechanics. So let us study in detail about the types of forces. So we can classify the forces into different categories on the basis of the system wise and source wise on the basis of the frame of reference and on the basis of the nature of force. Let's see. Sir, what is mean by system wise? So based on the system wise, we are classifying the forces into two types. One is internal forces and another one is external forces. We will discuss one by one what is mean by internal forces and what is mean by external forces. Sir, what is mean by internal? So internal nothing but the forces which acting on each other within the system is known to be internal forces. Let us see in a case of a gun and bullet system. So in case of a gun and bullet system, when we press the trigger, a force exerted by the bullet, a force exerted by the gun on the bullet, and the same way the bullet will also exert some force on the gun. So it is completely within the system. So one object in a system is exerting some force on the another system. So these kind of forces are considered as a internal forces. There is no outside force acting on the system. In the same way, during collision, so when two objects are participating in collision with each other, so before going to participate in collision, they have some momentum. So initial momentum of the first one, for suppose you are taking m1 u1, second body you are taking as m2 u2. So with this momentum they are going to participate in the collision. So during the collision what will happen? So the force exerted by the two on one, in the same way force exerted by the object 2 on 1, that means F12 is equals to F21, so equal in magnitude but in opposite direction. So these kind of forces we can classify as the internal forces. In the same way, when an object is explodes in mid-air, so when the object is explodes in mid-air, what will happen? The objects are moving in opposite direction to conserve the linear momentum. So during the explosion, whatever the forces acting on the fragments of the bomb, so that forces are considered as a internal forces. That means the forces which acts within the system is known to be internal forces. So simply we can say that when the internal forces only doing the work, when there is no external force acting on it, then the momentum of the system is said to be conserved. So this is already we studied as law of conservation of linear momentum. Sir, what is mean by external forces? So external forces nothing but, let us consider a block of mass m is on the surface of the ground. Now if you want to make the body into motion, what we have to do? We need to apply some force on it. That means the force which is acting on the system or the force which is acting on the constituents of the system is known to be from which side? From the outside. So from outside the force is acting, that's why the forces are known to be external forces. Let us take one more example. If two objects are kept in contact with each other, so here due to the contact there is a action and reaction pair is developing. So to keep the two bodies in motion, if we are applying some force on the system, so this force will be taken by the two bodies. So we are applying some force on the constituent. These two bodies together can be called as a system. So on the constituents of the system we are applying some force from the outside. So this force is known to be external force. Now let us discuss about the second classification of the force, that is source wise. So on the basis of the source wise we are classifying them into two types. One is field forces, another one is contact forces. Or simply these field forces also known to be non-contact forces. So this non-contact force is nothing but the forces which are acting on the body from a distance is known to be non-contact forces or field forces. So what are the examples for the field forces? So gravitational force is a field force. Why? Because when you throw a body vertically upwards, after reaching to a particular height, there will be a attraction force. Due to attraction force between the object and the earth, again the body will be reaches to the surface of the earth itself. So gravitational force is a non-contact force, or it is also known to be gravitational force or field force. Now one more example we can take it as magnetic force. So magnetic force. So if you take a magnet and when you place an iron needle just away from this within the influence of the magnet, so that means the force which creates some field around it is known to be field forces. Within this field there is a existence, there will be influence of the force on the bodies surrounding by it, so it will be attracted by the magnet. So magnetic force is also a example of field force. In the same way, electrostatic force. So electrostatic force is developed due to the charges which are at rest at a particular place, so it will also create some fields around them. So when you bring another charge inside it, so this charge will be under the influence of the plus q, so this force will also known to be so field force. And electromagnetic force is also a electromagnetic force is also a non-contact force. From a certain distance these forces are acting. Now let us come to the so important what we have encountered, what we are going to discuss more in this chapter, that is contact forces. So the contact forces, it name it shows the forces which comes into play by coming in contact with the bodies is known to be contact forces. So here we are classifying the forces, contact forces in different categories. So let us study one by one. So we are going to discuss about the first normal force. It is also known to be normal reaction, or sometimes it is also known to be reaction force. So what is mean by normal force? So normal force is nothing but, let us consider an object is placed on the table. So mass of the object is m. So when the object is resting on the table, so what will happen? There is a one force acting on it, that is gravitational force. Direction of the gravitational force is always towards the center. So we can write Fg is equals to mg. Okay. So when the two bodies are in coming in contact with each other, there is a intermolecular force of attraction is developing due to in contact between the bodies. So that force which is balancing the gravitational force or component of the gravitational force which will act perpendicular to the surface, that force is known to be normal force. So we can write normal force or reaction force N is equals to mg when the object is on the horizontal plane. So when the object is placed on horizontal plane, so normal force is balances the weight of the body. Okay, so actually it is a force developed between the two bodies where they are coming in contact with each other. Okay, right. So for suppose if the object is placed on the inclined plane, what is the direction of the normal force? We will discuss one by one. So when the object is placed on the horizontal plane, this is the direction of the normal force. Now for suppose if the object is placed on the inclined plane, so if the object is placed on inclined plane, I am taking an inclined plane which makes an angle theta with the horizontal object of mass m. We know that weight is always acts vertically downwards direction or towards the center of the earth. Now I am resolving this weight into two components, mg cos theta, another one is mg sin theta. Then what is the direction of the normal force on the object? We know that already normal force is always perpendicular to the surface. Okay, so this is the direction of normal force. So in case of the inclined plane, normal force is balanced as the component of the weight of an object. Right, let us see, when the object is pressed against a vertical wall, when object is pressed against a vertical wall, so see, we are pressing the object by applying some force. Okay, for suppose force I am applying on it is F. So weight of the object is acting downwards. So in this case, the normal force, what is the direction of the normal force? So the direction of the normal force, in this case it is not balancing the weight of the object. In what way it will acting? So the direction we know that perpendicular to the surface. So perpendicular to the surface where the object in contact with the surface. So this is the direction of the normal force. So in this case, the normal force is balanced as the applied force. So F normal force or reaction force is balanced as the applied force in this case. Right now let us discuss when the object is placed on a grooved surface, V groove. That means this is the surface. We have a surface like this. Now the object is placed between the V groove surface. The surface will be in the shape of V. So now here, what is the direction of the normal force? So direction of the normal force, for before that let us write the direction of the weight. So weight is equals to mg. Now what is the direction of the normal force? Normal force, to find the normal force direction, we need to identify the point where the object is in contact with the surface. So these are the points with which the object is in contact with the surface. So this is the direction of normal force and this is the direction of normal force. So two surfaces are there, so 2 points are coming in contact with the body, that's why we are getting two normal forces, so N1 and N2. So in this case the resultant of N1 and N2 is balancing the N12 N resultant. If we know the angle theta, we can find out the N1 and N2, so that will balance as the weight of the object. Okay, now let us see one more case here. If we are pressing a ladder against a vertical wall. So for suppose a ladder is given to you or a rod of length is given to you, we are pressing this rod against a wall. Pressing the rod against vertical wall or placing a ladder, right? So here where the contact point, these are the contact points. So 2 points, the body is in contact with the surface, one is with the ground, another one with the vertical wall. So direction of the normal force, we know that always perpendicular to the surface. So we can write this is mg, and this we can write n1, and this we can write n2 because it is the point of contact with the surfaces. So n1 and n2, the resultant of n1 n2 will give some torque effect on the body. So we will discuss in detail in further session, but we know that only what should be the direction of the normal force when a rod is placed against a vertical wall. Now let us discuss one more type of force. The second type of contact force, that is tension. So tension is denoted by capital T. So see, tension is nothing but it is a stretching force acting on a string or acting on a spring or acting on a rope. For suppose a string is given to you, to its free end, now we are applying or we are placing a weight to its free end. So when we are attaching a body to its free end, so what will happen? Due to weight of the body, the string is elongating somewhat. So if it is more elastic, the elongation will be much more. So what is the force? Gravitational force Fg is equals to mg downwards. To encounter this force, so there is a force developing within the string, so in vertically upward direction, that force is known to be tension. So it is also a intermolecular force between the molecules of the string or thread or rope. So tension in the string, the direction of tension of the string is always acting towards the point of suspension. So in case of an object or in case of a string which is like this, so we can write T is equals to mg. Okay, it is in the mean position. So for suppose now the object, for suppose we have a bob is given, a bob at mean position. So tension we can write like this, T balance as the mg at mean position. So now by giving some force, we are taking this bob in such a way that it makes an angle theta with the vertical. So when we take the string by making an angle theta with the vertical, so we know the direction of the string. Direction of the tension is always towards the point of suspension. So now in this case they are asking what is the magnitude of the tension in the string. So we can write this is the weight mg downwards. Now we can resolve this, the tension we can resolve this into 2 because these two are all alternate angles. So this will be T cos theta and this will be T sin theta. If applied force on it will be F. So here F is the external force which we are using to change the position of the bob by making an angle theta with vertical. So now we can write according to the figure. So T cos theta is equals to mg. In the same way T sin theta is equals to F. our aim is to find tension in the string. So how to find the tension in the string? So let us do 1 square plus 2 square. So we are going to get t square is equals to mg square plus f square. So therefore tension in the string T is equals to under root of mg square plus f square. So here generally they will mention in the question the string is massless string. If the string is massless, we need not to consider the mass of the string. If the mass of the string or rope or thread is given as capital M, so then the tension produced in the string will be small m plus capital M into G. That means weight of the rope and weight of the object which is attached to the free end, that will be also considered. So when the string of mass m is given, we need to take the mass of the string also. Okay, right. Now let us take one more important point related to the tension. So tension, we know that what is meant by tension. So tension is a stretching force in a string is known to be tension. Let us consider two objects are connected by a massless and inextensible string. So M1, M2 are connected. Okay, so now they are asking, by using a force if the bodies are pulling as shown in the figure, then what is the tension developed in the string? So if the bodies are connected by using a common string, at each and every point of the string the tension will remain the same. So T is same at every point of the string. If tension is same, then the each part or each object is moving with the same acceleration. So acceleration is same and the speed of the object is also same. So if the bodies are connected and it will passes over a pulley like this. So see, M1 and M2 are connected by using a common string and the string passes over the pulley. So here the string is common for both. When the string is common, therefore the tension in each side of the system will be same. So this tension T and this is also T. For suppose this is equals to 10 Newton tension developing in the string, and this side also how many newtons will be developing? So 10 newtons of tension is developing in the string. If the objects are connected by a common string, in the same way if it is released, for suppose if m1 is released, the acceleration is also same. Acceleration of the object 1 and acceleration of the object 2 is equals to same, and tension in the two parts of the string will also remains the same. T1 is equals to T2, that is equals to T. Now for suppose if the system is connected like this, so we have one more pulley here, M1, M2, M3. So this is the system given to you. So how many pulleys are there? Total 2 pulleys are there, pulley 1 and pulley 2. So how many strings are there? So string 1. So this will be complete string 1. That means in this entire this T1, and for suppose this is T2 and T3 and T4. For suppose I am considering the different individual parts. Let us study the whatever the magnitudes of the individual tensions in the system. So P1, so this is connected, the string is common. Where the string is common? So M1 and pulley are connected to the common string. That's why, so tension 1 is equals to tension 2. In the same way, we can write one more important point. Acceleration of the M1 should be is equals to acceleration of the pulley 2. Okay, now acceleration of M1 is equals to acceleration of the pulley 2 we can write, because it is also in motion. Okay, next, tension in 3 is equals to tension in 4, because it is also a common string. And then acceleration in 3 is equals to acceleration of the 4. We will discuss in detail when we are studying the constrained motion pulley constants. When we are discussing the pulley constant, we will learn much more in detail about this. Just to remember here, the direction of the tension is always towards the point of suspension. In the same way, the tension, if the two bodies are connected by a common string, at each and every point of the tension will remain the same along the thread. In the same way, the acceleration will be also remains same. Now let us discuss one more type of the contact force, that is frictional force. So frictional force is a consequential force. That means when an object is moving over the another surface. So for suppose I am applying a force capital F on the body, the object is moving on the surface. So where there is a contact established between them, so here is a contact established between the surface and the body. So when the object is set into motion, or when the object is in motion, there is a force developing along the tangential to the surface, contact surface of the two bodies. That force leads to reduce the relative motion. That means it will tries to oppose the motion of the body on the surface. So that force is known to be frictional force. Okay, the magnitude of the frictional force is depends on the normal force, F directly proportional to n. So F is equals to mu n. Here n is nothing but normal force, F is equals to mu mg. Just to remember this, we have a separate concept based on the friction. So we will discuss in detail each and every concept related to the force of friction. When the object is moving on the horizontal surface, in the presence of the friction. When the object is moving on the inclined plane, in the presence of the friction, we are going to study in detail. Okay, now let us discuss about the one more type of force, that is spring force. So spring force denoted by Fs. So when we take a spring, now let us attach a mass to its free end. So when we are attaching the mass to the free end, we can see elongation in the spring. So in original length of the spring, let us take L. So due to application of this, the elongation produced in the spring, let us take X. Okay, na? So once you release the whatever the mass you are attaching to the free end, so what will happen? Again the spring will regain the original shape and size within the elastic limit. So here is the one condition, elastic limit nothing but what? The object has to maintain the elastic property. That range is known to be elastic limit. So beyond that elastic limit, if you apply the greater force on it, the body will never regain the original shape and size. So here what is the elongation here? So X is the elongation. So further you are increasing some force. What will happen? Somewhat the elongation in the spring will be increases. So here we have a one law for this. That law is known to be Hooke's law. So according to Hooke's law, the whatever the force developing in the spring, so this is external force, nothing but what? Weight of the body acting on it. So to regain the shape and size of the spring, an internal force acting in opposite direction to the applied force, that force is known to be spring force. It is also known to be elastic force. So according to Hooke's law, the spring force is directly proportional to elongation produced in a body within the elastic limit. This is the condition. Within elastic limit, it is not applicable for beyond elastic limit. So within the elastic limit of an object or spring, the restoring force, it is restoring force nothing but what, which tries to regain the original shape and size of the spring. It is nothing but what, spring force only, is directly proportional to elongation but in opposite direction. What does it mean? So spring force is upward direction and elongation is downward direction. That's why spring force is directly proportional to elongation but in opposite direction. After removing the proportion, we are introducing a constant here. This constant is known to be spring constant. So spring constant we can write K is equals to spring force by x we can write, and unit of the spring force, so it is also known to be, unit of spring constant of spring constant, unit of the force is Newton, unit of the elongation is meter. So Newton per meter is a unit for the spring constant. And what about its dimension formula? So ml t power minus 2 by L. So we can cancel L and L. So we are getting mt power minus 2 or ml power 0 t power minus 2. So this is about the spring force. It is also a consequential force. Why it is a consequential force? Because due to application of the external force only, this force will be developing in the spring. And one more important point, this K is also known to be stiffness. Okay, the stiffness depends on the nature of the material. If the nature of the material is changes, then the stiffness will be also changed. That means the springs which are made with different materials, they should have the different stiffness values. Okay na? So this is about the spring force. Now based on the reference frame and based on the nature of the force, we will discuss later. So when we are studying the concept of pseudo force, and at that time we will discuss about the based on the reference frame, and when we are discussing the work energy power, I will give a short introduction to that, what is mean by nature of based on the nature. So based on nature, we are classifying the forces into two types. One is conservative forces and the another one is non-conservative forces. You know what is mean by work done. So when an object is displaced due to application of force, then there is a work is said to be done. So work done we can write Fs, or we can also write in Fs cos theta. Okay na? So if the work done by a force, if work done by a force in a complete path equals to 0, then the forces are known to be conservative forces. If the work done by forces is not equals to 0, then it is known to be non-conservative forces. Okay, conservative means if the work done by a force in a complete path equals to 0, then it is conservative force. If the work done by a force is not equals to 0, that is a non-conservative force. Let us see one example for the conservative force. So gravitational force is a conservative force. Why? Let us consider an object of mass m is on the surface of the earth. Now I am taking this object to a height h. So displacement S is equals to h, and how much force I need to act on the body, whatever the weight of the body, the same magnitude of force I need to act it, that is mg. Therefore, what is the work done in upward direction? So mg into h. This is the work done when I am taking the body to upward direction. Now, when I am taking the body downwards, so what is the work done? Work done is equals to minus mgh, or we can say this is minus mgh and this is plus mgh. Sir, why you are writing that? Because w is equals to fs cos theta. So here in first case, what is the direction of the displacement? Displacement is upwards and gravitational force is downwards. So Fg into S we can write. So that these two forces will be opposite direction. See, so this is the direction of the displacement and this is the direction of the gravitational force. I am going to find the work done by gravitational force only. So gravitational force downwards and displacement upwards. Therefore, how can we write Fg, mg, displacement h and cos 180. So cos 180 value how much? Minus 1. So minus mgh when it is moving upwards. Now, when I am taking the body to downwards, so what is the direction of gravitational force? Fg downwards and displacement also downwards. Therefore, theta in this case is 0. Therefore, W2 is equals to mgh cos 0. Cos 0 value is 1. Therefore, work done in coming down, that is mgh. Net work done if you are calculating in a complete loop or complete path is equals to 0. Therefore, gravitational force is a conservative force. We will study much in detail when we are discussing the chapter work, energy, power. So now let us see what is mean by non-conservative force. So frictional force we can consider as a non-conservative force. Frictional force. Okay. So because this work done is never be 0. Why? Let us see an object is on the surface of the earth. The frictional force between them I am taking F is equals to 2 Newton and the object is moving towards right and displacement S is equals to 2 meter. Now see what is the direction of the force? This is the direction of the frictional force and this is the direction of the displacement. Work done by the frictional force we can write W1 I am writing. So F into S cos 180, that is minus Fs, that is minus 4 joules is the work done. Next, now I am bringing the body same in this direction. Now my frictional force in which direction? In this direction. Now again the displacement and frictional force again they are opposite direction, because we know the direction of the force of friction. The force of friction is always opposite to the direction of motion. Therefore, W2 is equals to Fs again cos 180, therefore minus 4 Newton. Therefore, work done in a complete path. When I am bringing the body to the same point, we are getting the net force as minus 8 Newton. This not equals to 0. The negative sign represent the nature of the force. So this is the classification of the forces based on the nature. So conservative and non-conservative forces. Let us see some problems what we have missed in the while discussing the concept of momentum. Let's see. So a body of mass to speed of 5 meter per second, a force act on it for some time in the direction of motion. The force time graph is shown in figure. Find the final speed of the body. So what is the initial speed of the body? U is equals to 5 meter per second. Mass of the body is 2 kg and the given a force act on it for some time in the direction of motion and force time graph is given. Okay, they are asking final speed. So force time graph gives area under force time graph gives the information about change in momentum or impulse. Okay, so if you're calculating the area, can we find out the impulse? So impulse nothing but m into v minus u, we are getting impulse. So our aim is to find what is the final speed of the body. So v minus u j by m we can write. Therefore v is equal to m plus u is the final speed of the body. Let us see how to simplify this. We have total how many areas? So let us divide this. This is area 1. So area 1, and this will be area 2. A triangle, and this one, only this one, A2. And next I am taking this as a triangle A3, and here one rectangle A4, and this is A5. So total area A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4 plus A5 gives the impulse. So first I am finding area 1. What is area 1? Half into base into it, because it is triangular shape. So 2 into height angle is 4. So this is 4. Next area 2. What is area 2? This one. This one will be the area. 2 into 4. This will be 8. Next A3. Half into base. So this base. So 4.5 minus 4, that will be 0.5 into height. So height we need to take from this height only. So 4 minus 2.5, that will be 1.5. So A3 is equals to, so what we are going to get, this is 0.75 by 2, we can write 0.375. So 0.375 is the area 3. Next area 4. What is area 4? This is 4 minus 4.5, 0.5 into height value will be, this is the breadth value will be 2.5 I am taking. So 25 5 is 125, 1.25 A4. Next let us see A5. What is A5? A5 will be this one. So 6.5 minus 4.5 is 2. 2 into 2.5. So 4.5. Add the total areas. 4, 8, 0.375, 1.25, 4.5. So 5, 12, 1, 10, 11, 1, 4 plus 1, 5, 6, 6, 6, 8, 14, 18. So we substitute here 18.125 by what is the mass? 2 plus what is its initial velocity? Plus 5. So 9.062. Therefore we were getting 14.062. So this is the final velocity of the body. Okay. Let us see some more numericals. What we have missed. Let us see. A rigid ball of mass m strikes a rigid wall at an angle of 60 degree, gets reflected without loss of speed as shown in the figure. Find the value of impulse imparted by the wall on the ball will be. So here the object makes an angle of 60 degree with respect to the normal. Therefore, if it is makes an angle 60 degree with respect to the normal, the change in momentum is equals to 2 mv cos theta. So we are going to get 2 mv without loss of energy. It is moving cos theta, cos 60. So cos 60 is 1 by 2. Therefore, the change in momentum or change in momentum only impulse. So impulse imparted by the wall on the ball is mv. So this is our answer. Let us see the next one also. Right, it is also based on the graphical question related to the force and time graph. The magnitude of force acting on a body varies with the time in microseconds. That is, this is given as in microsecond. Micro stands for 10 to the power of minus 6. Right. AB, BC and CD are straight line segments. So AB, BC, CD are straight line segments. That means the force is changing, the force is varying uniformly. Find the total impulse on the body from t equals to 4 microseconds to t equals to 16 microseconds. They are asking from here to here. So from 4 microseconds to impulse from 4 microseconds to 16 microseconds. So we know that already the force time graph is given. If ft graph is given, area under ft gives impulse. So divide this. I am dividing into different areas like this. This is one area I am taking, and this is second area, and this will be triangle directly. So area 1 I am finding. Area 1 is equals to 2 into 10 to the power of minus 6, because this 2 into 10 power of minus 6 and its breadth will be 200. So what I am going 400 into 10 power of minus 6, area 1. Next area 2, let us take, this is area 2 I am taking. So area 2 in the shape of triangle, half into base. So base value is 2 into 10 power of 6 minus 6, and height will be 200 to 800, that will give 600. So 600 into 10 to the power of minus 6, area 2. Next area 3. So area 3, this will be this remaining area. So half into base. So base will be, so base 6 to 16, that will be 10, and height will be 800. So 10 into 10 power of minus 6 is there. So this will be 5. What I am going to get, 4000 into 10 minus 6. So 4000, 1000, 5000 into 10 power of minus 6 is the total area. That means it will be equals to area under the graphs below the t equals to 0 to 4 to t equals to 0 to 16 microseconds. So now we can write this is 5 into 10 to the power of minus 3 Newton second. This will gives the change in momentum. Change in momentum nothing but impulse. So this is the way of doing the problems related to the force and time graph. Okay, thank you, stay safe.